Great American Pillow Fight coming at you.
Who's that saying sweet flag? Bird with the stall, and when we all went piling out.
All you gotta do is block that guy. Your job ain't that hard. So just don't make it hard. Yes, sir, Coach. I got you.
Now, from Suite 11 at Louisiana Downs Casino and Racetrack in some basement in rural Central Florida, it's the Jumping Offsides Podcast Network. Here's your host, Chance, JD, and Mike.
Two tonight, just jumping offsides, bunch back together. 3 lives. We make a right with that. Hey, this is just about like Christmas. This is about like opening. It's not. It's bullshit. It's not like
It's
that.
New
But
Year. It kind of is.
SD. National Signing Day. John David Lyles, the LSU Tigers, riding high with a new coach, Mike Pearson, down there in, however you say that place he lives, down there around Tampa. We're all here. We're ready. New coaches all around. It's the greetings. Everybody's on a honeymoon right now. So talk to me. Tell me how we feel. We have some big times coming up this way. Hey, but before we start, I want to thank some of our new listeners, new subscribers. Hoff Power Concrete have come on and simplified crawfish. They were in the comments on one of our last episodes. I want to thank them for joining in. And we got roughed up a little bit in there, but that's all right. That's what we're here for. Guys, take it away.
Buddy, I'm more than excited for our new hire. I'm excited for LSU for their drama queen that they lucked into. I think Auburn got a really good one with Golish. It's good to be a Florida Gator. I guess the Tigers are gonna ride this lane train soap opera. It's like the 90210 revamp. He's got text messages flying around of little side mamas. He's got the governor of Louisiana who said they would never ever do another $90 million contract. And what'd they do, Chance?
Another
They just
$90
upped
million
it to what,
plus
90,
buyout.
91 million. They said
That's
they ain't
right.
doing 90 million ever again. They're gonna do 91 now.
Yeah, like 97. 97. Yeah, get this right. Yeah,
Right.
91, 97, whatever it is. Yeah.
But
Well, I don't want to hear
I'll
at the
stick
next
to-
cycle about the buyout and how the state's
Yeah.
broke and all the donors are broke from paying it. Because
I will be
We're
the
still
first.
paying
first
three
to
coaches.
admit-
We're still paying 3 coaches.
Yeah, I'll be the first to admit. Sure, I think every Gator out there was kind of pulling for Lane, but after the more and more I've read and heard about Coach Sumrall and seen his interviews, seen kind of how he brings the energy and just he's got some I'll say piss and vinegar to him, if that makes sense, and just seems like a guy that you'd want to go to war with. And I honestly think that's probably what we need at Gator Nation. We need a guy who's going to, gear shift a couple of our guys. Not that you can do that anymore as a coach, but you guys know what I'm getting at. He's going to be intense. He's going to expect the best. He's going to do kind of some things that are needed around our crew. And
yeah,
I think at the end of the day, we just have to, give the guy his room and space to operate. I think all too often, all of us Monday morning quarterbacks think, well, I know who we should get as the GM, or, hey, I know who we should get as the OC, or, hey, you know what? No, you don't, because that's why you're sitting on a podcast with the 3 of us yahoos. Like, let Coach Sumrall, who's done nothing but win every stop and every place he's been, do his thing and get out of the way, and either support him or don't. If you don't like the guy personally, well, then fine. Start rooting for USF or Miami, whoever, pick your poison. But my point is, this is the guy that I think is going to be the right hire. You know, sometimes the flashy, and look, like I said, I was, you know, ticked off, let's say on Saturday night, Sunday. I wanted Lane. I'm not going to lie. I don't think there's a Gator fan that would say they didn't want Lane. I'll be honest, but I will tell you now, after getting to hear more about Coach Sumrall and how he looks at things, and again, not that you can say this is our guy after looking at 2 or 3 or 4 podcasts, but I tell you what, some of the stuff he said on some of the podcasts back in October, this is a guy I could sit in the locker room and just talk ball with, and like I said, let football people do football things, and he seems like a football person.
I think y'all got a good guy. I think Sumrall's good, but you know, let's not act like y'all didn't think that Lane was coming to Florida. I mean, I've heard. I've heard it's a done deal. It's a done deal.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and hey, look, I told y'all I didn't feel like he was going to come to LSU. I didn't. However, I didn't realize the pull Nick Saban would have on him. I totally took that out of the equation. But I feel like had y'all got rid of Billy Napier last year, Lane Kiffin would be your head coach. But you didn't do it. You stuck with him. And then here we are this year, and you got Sumrall. And I don't think that's a bad hire at all. But, you know, I think that everybody that's a Florida Gator, most people have been pretty upset about it, and rightfully so. I mean, I think y'all were on the wagon first before most anybody else. But
well, I'll say this:
sure.
I absolutely thought he was coming, but there's grease behind that. One being that he gave us a verbal that he was coming, and then the other thing is the things he kept coming back and wanting, and this is coming from, you know, some people that know. And hey, I sent you guys Danny today. He was on Pod Up with Matthews, and he broke it down. Well, he was in every call. He was in every Zoom. He met with these people. He and Lane texted and had video call after video call. And he said Lane told him he didn't think Danny would like him. And Danny actually said he loved him and thought that it was happening. So of course, when a guy's telling you he's coming and all that, but he said then communication totally shut down. He said that's when he thinks LSU made the real push, and hey, happened. And you know what? All we can do at this point is see what happens.
That's it. Yep.
And I'm like Mike, like I was ready, and really even knowing today after listening to Danny talk about Strickland and all the things he did right in this has made me have a whole 180 there too. But I was ready to burn Gainesville down Saturday night. I mean, ask Brandon Spikes. Ask him. Like, I was mad. But then Sunday, and then hearing John Sumrall talk made me totally like, oh my gosh, maybe we got the right guy. So we'll see. All we can do is watch and see what happens. I do like the general manager move. The more I've dug into that, an Eagles executive, a former Jaguars executive, I think we're on something there. So y'all can expound on that. But then what we saw from NSD today.
My deal is this, and this is what I keep saying. Florida should be a destination for a coach, not, now granted, there's a lot of coaches in this cycle, and I think that everybody was kind of up against, Penn State and LSU, Florida. You had quite a few places. Now, with that said, why do y'all keep hiring these mid-level coaches? Like, why don't y'all hire somebody that's proven? Why do they keep going that route? Like, it hasn't worked yet. The only time it's worked is Steve Spurrier from Duke, and that was an ACC school.
Urban Meyer.
Which is a little different. Urban at Utah, which at the time, Utah wasn't a Pac-12 school. Utah was they were a kind of a mid-tier school. Yeah. They were upper echelon Mountain West school, but Urban also went, 11-1 and played in a Sugar Bowl and beat, Alabama or whoever he was he beat. Who did he beat?
He beat Alabama.
Utah. Yeah. So,
I think they're actually undefeated. Here's what I really like what Coach Sumrall said.
That's right. They did go
was
undefeated.
The comparison, kind of what you're getting at, and the guy said, look, and I thought he had a great analogy. He said, I don't know what specific reporter he was talking to, but he said, that would be the same as me having a bad interaction with one reporter and then saying every reporter's bad. So I think he made a great point to make a note that, look, there are some similarities between his track record and his resume, if you will, and what Coach Napier, had and those nuances. But then he cut it off and he said, we're two different people. And not that he was knocking Billy and not that he was knocking, the route and the road that he took to get to where he's at today. He's just basically saying, bottom line is, I'm not Billy Napier. I'm going to do things my way. And let's just wait and see what the outcome is. So I think I agree with you on a standpoint of, we wanted a proven guy. We wanted an SEC kind of guy. We wanted let's even say a Jed Fish candidate, which again, I was kind of pulling for Jed if it wasn't going to be Lane, just because I knew Jed a little bit from my time there when Jed was a GA while I was there. And then he had worked at Power 4 schools, right? So all in all, I'm just in agreement with Coach Sumrall that, hey, we just got to wait and see, so wait and see how this is gonna work out versus lumping him in the same category as his predecessor.
I don't know why this was telling me this, but it was telling me, Mike, that you don't have enough device storage, that you need to free up some device storage. Whatever that means.
So I don't know.
So and I know you talked to a lot of the former players there, and what's been the consensus throughout, for some of the former players in the past 2 days since Sumrall's been named?
I mean, very similar to what I just said. I think we all Saturday night and Sunday morning were like, golly, how do we not bring the big fish or the prom queen home? How do we fail again as a program? Not knowing exactly, but kind of having some inside scoop that it was probably going to be Coach Sumrall. So then kind of letting using the 24-hour rule, hey, who's this guy? What does it mean for us? Kind of hearing some podcasts, getting a couple little, snippets here and there, and then kind of trying to peel the onion back. And it kind of like Chance and I talked a little bit. I'm kind of digging this guy. He's kind of a dude that I think I could, button the chin strap up a little bit harder and knock heads with him. I think, look, I'm not saying just because you run around on the sideline and hoot and holler and get animated is going to win us ball games.
We had that with
but at least it's different. At least it's different. I like a guy who, wears his emotions on his sleeve, because I think football is an emotional game. Now, yes, he'll probably have some changes because he knows, hey, I'm going to have to deal with some different things, and I'm going to take on a bigger animal than I've taken on in my past, coaching history, and it's kind of like the movement continues to go north. So, yeah, as former players, we were all kind of like peeved. We were all a little bit, had our 2 cents to say about what Strickland did or didn't do. But I've said this from the start with the position Scott's in. He ain't going to please everybody, nor should he try to. So kudos to Scott for sticking to the formula that he thinks is the best for our program. Because he doesn't need guys like me and guys like Chance and every other Gator faithful fan out there giving him his 2 cents. Because at the end of the day, he's got to do what we pay him to do, and that's to run a program.
Yeah. Well, I think you're right as far as that goes, and I mean, from the standpoint of the way that NIL works now is, your donors have so much of a influence on who you hire, in that whole process. And I think Chance touched on it, and I'd heard some things like that too about how, he kept coming back. Lane came back, wanted more playing time, or wanted this, or wanted that, and you hear all those things. And then I listened to Verge Osbury talk about how he knew last week Lane was coming, earlier in the week. He said, now, until we sent the plane, I in the back of my mind, I was like, man, I mean, I don't know. But I mean, he had agreed to terms, a week ago with him. And so you're just like, at what point does it, at what point for us as fans and y'all too, does this whole thing just start to take shape and we don't see it like the ADs see it, I mean, they've got a whole other operation, that they're dealing with. So,
well, I've said this entire, I'll call it train wreck, not of the Gators or LSU, but a train wreck of how college football and the industry, I'll say, runs itself, but more importantly, doesn't run itself. It's like, if you guys want to act like we're a quasi semi-pro minor league system of the NFL, which is basically what we're doing now, start operating and functioning like that. And you have a free agency period that starts on X date. So people want to say, well, Mike, we don't have free agency in college football. Bull crap. You got the transfer portal. That's our free agency name, right? In the NFL, you don't talk to coaches during the season while they're under contract with an organization. So why in the heck can't college football power just go, enough is enough? Shame on us for allowing this to happen. And hopefully this is the tipping point where all the ADs and all the university presidents all get together and go, you know what, look, we're going to go back to the transfer portal, and that free agency is the term. Transfer portal does not start and will not start until 2 days or a week after the national championship game.
Mm-hmm.
Also, that's when you're talking to coaches. It's a mockery of the fact that the Ole Miss team has a selfish coach who's now going and
that would be
somebody else in
Mike,
the sandbox.
That'd be Mike Pearson, Kent. That'd be Mike Pearson playing the xylophone.
Yeah, that's the way he's playing it. Again, I'm frustrated with our industry. I say ours as far as being the next player. And just what world do we live in where we now have to make a coach decide? Like, Coach Sumrall, same way. Like he's probably got a chance to play in the playoffs. I mean, if they win their conference game, they might be one of the top other five or whatever they call them. And now he's got to try to figure out, well, how am I going to juggle early signing day, coaching my team at Tulane, of taking on this career opportunity of one of the major big players in college football. Like, come on, guys, like you're telling me that we can get some sort of, acting commissioner a la Nick Saban in place and quickly readjust our timetables? I call it like it is, guys. These NCAA folks are it's like they're running government healthcare. They don't know what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's frustrating because I'm frustrated for the coaches, but more importantly, I'm frustrated for the teams that are now having to put up with, one team's got a coaching vacancy. So, hey, we don't have a coach, so you can't tell us not to talk to people. And then the other team who has a great coach, of course people are going to come start talking to them. But why can't we just let the season play out, do it exactly? You already got a model. the NFL does a pretty good job of it, and everybody gets theirs, and nobody ever is without. And you're going to tell me delaying it a 2-month time frame is going to be detrimental to who? That's going to be better for the entire system. So let's get the ADs and the university presidents together and figure this crap out, so we don't have to go through this soap opera 90210 again next year.
We got a question from a Florida fan, Trey. I think it's Blanco. He said, Mike, who for OC? $16 million for staff ain't bad.
You know, I would love to get Cade Bell. You know, he's up in Pittsburgh. You know, if you watch their games, they do a really, really good job. I think they've got some great packages. They're not a dink and dunk. They're spread the ball out. They throw it down the field. He's done a really good job of developing that quarterback up there. Obviously, his family ties with his dad. You know, Kerwin being one of the all-time Gator greats, I think has even a nice little subtle nuance to it. You know, I think there's probably some others out there that we could probably go after, but he'd be not my number one. You know, other than that, I think you could always kind of take a peek at, you know, one of the guys that's, you know, the Texas A&M OC. But again, I don't think those guys would make these lateral moves. I think, you know, for a guy like Cade who's at Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh's obviously a good program, but I would think the Gators and SEC might be more of a vertical move for him. So he'd be top choice. Can't really think of anybody else specifically other than him.
Chance, I was muting.
But again,
while Mike was talking, because it's making a bad.
But
echo.
again, like I said earlier, I think we all need to let Coach Sumrall do his thing. And I did think he made a great, and I don't know if it was either the presser or just another clip I heard, but you know, they asked the question about friends and hiring this and that, and he goes, look, he said, I ain't hiring friends. He goes, I've told friends and my buddies all the time, like, yeah, we're buddies, but that don't mean I'm hiring you because, you know, I got a job to do. And I think that's a great mindset, because all too often, all of us included, we've all made some poor decisions based on just familiarity and friendship. And I think he's being very disciplined, I guess would be the approach I think he's taken at it of, I'm going to do what's best for this program. I'm going to do what's best where I think, you know, we've got the right people in the right seats on the bus, and just let the guy do his thing. Let football people do football things. I'll keep saying that over and over. And he seems like a football person. Let him do his thing.
Well, let's talk about what are y'all thoughts about Kiffin letting Charlie Weiss go back and coach Ole Miss in the playoffs for offense? How do y'all feel about that?
I think he did that to save his sorry you know what.
Absolutely.
I think he did that.
Because everything that was already said.
And I'll say this again. I wanted Lane. You know, we all did. That was our first pick. So I'm not going to try to tiptoe around, act like, oh my gosh, he's there. But come on, dude. You really think that, and whether he did or didn't make the threat, hey, if you're not on this plane when I go to Baton Rouge, you can forget about coming here. Well, number one, he's starting to show his true colors. He's never exited a building without leaving a trail of you know what behind him. So once again, he did it again. And I honestly think he somebody coached him up finally and said, hey, this looks really bad. You might need to see if your boy can at least go back and hold the offense down. So I ain't giving your boy no kudos for doing that.
Well, somebody
swooped in and said, let's make this a little bit better.
I'll say this. I know from watching press conference and everything, Verge Osbury said, we told him from day one, look, we want you to coach the team in the playoffs. We want you to stay on for as long as Ole Miss is in the playoffs. For one, if you decide to come here and they agree to it, that's better publicity for LSU because our next coach is going to be in the playoffs. And so if y'all continue to win, that's just better for us, for recruiting, from all of it, from publicity, everything. And so I know, and y'all, Mike, I don't know if you know as much as Chance would, but LSU and Ole Miss, traditionally rivals, they hated each other. Like my parents have said, like, you know, LSU versus Ole Miss was the game. It was go to hell, Ole Miss. I mean, that's what everybody in Louisiana said for years. And there's still a lot of the old timers that feel that way. And so I'm sure that feeling is mutual across the river. And so whenever he decided to make the jump and come here, they were like, no, you ain't coaching us. If you don't want to be here, get your ass out of here. And
I think they did the right thing. I
do too. I mean, I agree. I agree with that. I mean, I think they did too. But the whole thing about, you know, him wanting to stay and coach, and then I don't know how much of that I believe. I think that he probably did want to coach his team, but he didn't want the players to feel like he was abandoning them. But it's just, there's no way to win in that situation, especially when you're going to a rival. You know, I don't know how you would do it any other way. You know, I mean, at this point, you know, it is what it is.
It goes back to that whole tampering with coaches. If there's a dead period, then that eliminates all that. We don't have.
I agree.
After the season,
Correct.
That's where it is. I'm frustrated with the way it's handled because you can't help it. One school's going to look bad, another school is going to look like the victim, and then we as fans are going to pick a side. You know, whatever suits him. It sucks. It makes a hero and a villain.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I mean, that's what Tyler said. What could he have done differently? I blame college football calendar. And I mean, we've said this for 2 years on our show. The NCAA is basically a neutered dog at this point. Like they have nothing. So what are they going to do by putting a dead period in? You know.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, I think it's just that they're always reactive versus proactive. I mean, when's the last time that college football did something that made sense prior to it happening? Never.
No.
I mean, they never have. You know, the year that FSU got left out of the playoffs, well, then the very next year they had teams.
Yeah.
So if they would have had 12 teams that year, FSU would have been in the playoffs undefeated.
Yeah.
You know. Bringing the NIL into existence should have happened 30 years ago, where we wouldn't have had these ludicrous freshman quarterbacks getting paid $8, $9, $10 million, or other quarterbacks having one average year where their team was good overall. They got in the playoffs, and then they hold the team hostage in the spring and say, "Well, you better pay me some more money, or else." Like,
I'm going to go to UCLA
again. NCAA is, So again, I'm not woe is me, Lane Kiffin. The guy got paid $13 or $12 million a year to take his ball and go to LSU. But to the point we all made earlier, this is just a symptom of the idiocracy that the governing body or whoever the heck it is that is in charge of, major Division I college football can't wrap their arms around an operating system and how to function like a legit billion-dollar industry, a la just do what the NFL does. It ain't that hard. Copy them.
Yeah. And I'll say this.
Free agency transfer portal starts the week after the national championship game, as does the ability to talk to college coaches under contract.
Yes, right. I agree with that. And I think that, in my opinion, and I felt this way for a while, they finally had gotten the BCS right. When LSU played Oklahoma, and Oklahoma had gotten smoked by Kansas State in their conference title game and still made it, and USC didn't because the computer factor wasn't factoring in being in your conference championship game. When they finally got that part figured out, and then you started to get the two best teams, regardless of record or anything like that. I mean, there were times when there were a lot of Big Ten teams that were terrible that would go undefeated, but they had no business even sniffing a playoff, and probably, there were times when you could have justified a different team being there, but for the most part, they had it right. And I think that so much money has got involved in it now, and all these playoff games, and it's just the amount of money in college football is astronomical. And we talked about this before, and you're starting to see it with people putting their names on the field, and they're going to have patches on their jerseys, and it's turning into and I've noticed this in a lot of the stadiums too, like they're piping in music more like the NFL does, and it's to me it's tainted the game. But you're at the point of no return. How do you go from wide open to let's back it up? To me, the only thing they can do to fix it is make a commissioner and have one and make it somebody like a Nick Saban,
Yeah. Like I don't think it's tainted. I think they just haven't. Again, they've always been reactive. They don't ever try to be in front of the curve or to figure out before. It's not like it just crept up on them yesterday, where all of a sudden they went from making $300 million TV contracts to $7 billion TV contracts. It didn't happen overnight. Like, these things have been negotiated 2, 3, 4 years in advance. But then they wait till the money hits the bank account. Like, oh crap! Holy cow! We got all this money. We don't know what to do with it. Well, we'll just throw this against the wall. And I think it's because a lot of times people are in over their head and dealing with a huge billion-dollar business, and they've never done it before. You've got athletic departments going from operating around a $30, $40, $50 million budget to all of a sudden now they're operating a $200 million budget. That's a pretty steep, quick learning curve.
So
I just keep going back to be proactive and bring in some people and put your ego aside, or the schools and the trustees need to kind of be on the forward, front end of it too.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that, even if it's something from a conference standpoint where, the conference has stipulations that they put in place, there's got to be something to where these teams can get through the season and not have a signing period. College baseball was like this for a long time. And that was a huge problem with college baseball, is that, they would always have the signing period for college baseball before the MLB draft. And so you would always have these situations where, or after, I'm sorry. So you would go in and they would draft all these players, and some kid might get drafted in the 40th round, and he decide he's going to go play, college baseball or pro baseball and at low A ball and play there for 3 years and never really amount to nothing. And then he's burned his eligibility in college. And so I think that baseball finally got it right in the fact that they're allowing these kids to go to school for 2 years or whatever, and I think that, from the standpoint of what the NFL offers, a lot of these college players are taking pay cuts. Like, they're not going to make this in the NFL. Half of them won't even make it. So
that's Shadur Sanders. He's better off in Colorado making $3-4 million a year versus
getting a statue for
the rookie minimum.
Yeah,
that's right.
Well, we got some big games this week. I know y'all don't want to talk. Chance has got to go for too long. So
no, I'm good now.
You're good. Okay. So we got a little time. So what's next on the agenda, Mike? I mean, we talked about Kiffin not being able to coach his team in the playoffs, but your coach, being that it's not a rival, he gets to coach Tulane this weekend in a conference championship game. And then if they win, they get to keep going. He gets to keep coaching. And so what does that do for Florida staff? If, I know he's probably bringing people in that aren't the same, but as far as like that goes, what do you expect, from that?
Buddy, I mean, your guess is as good as mine because, like, who's running the strength and conditioning program, for maybe the next month if Tulane, wins on Saturday.
Yeah.
I'm just now. Granted, I'm pretty positive, and I have all faith in Coach Sumrall. The fact that he's got a plan in place, he's probably burning at both ends. He's not going to sleep for the next 4 months anyway, and he seems like he's got enough energy for all three of us. So I'm not worried in that regard. It's just I think it's going to be a weird month or so here. I did want to touch a little bit, on the college football rankings. Where what happens if Alabama loses on Saturday? Are they out of the playoffs? What happens if Georgia wins or Georgia loses on Saturday?
Nothing.
Does that help Miami out? Like, I just think, again, college football continuously has zero, clue. And I get it. They can't work through every single freaking scenario. But JD, to your point, like maybe bringing that computer back into the system might help a little objectivity, being pushed back in here. Because on one hand, it's like, well, hey, head to head matters, but not if it was 3 months ago. It's like, I don't understand that. Like, so Miami beating Notre Dame in early September doesn't matter now.
Right.
They still beat them. I don't understand that. Or, Alabama has already beaten Georgia earlier this year, and if Georgia wins Saturday, they're both 1-1 against each other. But then somehow Alabama might be out in the cold, out of the college football playoffs, where they would be better served if Alabama just didn't make the game.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, I think that they're not penalizing these teams for making the conference championship, but I don't see
they say
how.
That, but I mean,
I don't see how. Okay, so let's say this: even you got 3 losses, Alabama. Now you've got 3 losses. Okay, at this point, you look at it like this: who's got a worse 3-loss record, University of Texas or Alabama? Texas has lost to Ohio State, Florida. And who did Texas lose to besides Florida and Georgia? Okay, so you've lost to
Georgia,
2 of the top 3 teams in the country. Okay, and your other one was the Florida. Well, Alabama got boat raced by Florida State, which y'all just absolutely annihilated this weekend. So how do where do you go with that?
I don't have the answer, nor do I think that anybody does, other than there's got to be some sort of computer entity sprinkled back into the algorithm. Because to your point also, earlier, I mean, as much as we wanted to bash the BCS computer, it did do a pretty good job at the end of the day picking the 2 best teams.
Yeah. And also, how, I forget what I was supposed to say on that, but if you're looking at it from that standpoint. Well, JD,
think about this. Think about this. Let's just play the what if game. What if Duke wins the ACC championship this weekend?
That's what I'm saying. Do you put them in?
Are they going to get in over a Miami team?
A conference champion is an automatic bid in the playoff. That's the crazy part.
Here's the wrinkle. You're going to have my hold on now. My son pointed this out to me. That is a true statement, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's a Power 4 conference champion that gets in. It could be a Tulane team that's not in the Power 4 is ranked higher than Duke, and they get in and Duke doesn't. So there is some wording there that kind of saves the committee's what.
Okay.
Now look it up. It doesn't say Power 4. It just says highest ranked conference champion.
So let's say this scenario. Let's say Duke wins the conference championship game. Okay. Who are they playing, by the way?
Virginia.
Virginia. Okay. So let's just say Duke whips up on Virginia.
Which I hope happens.
I do too. You've got a Miami team that beat the wheels off Notre Dame that's like 4 or 5 spots below Notre Dame. Like,
right.
And then you've got Duke winning the conference. Like, dude,
but you know who the highest ranked conference champion will be at that point?
Who?
Tulane. It'd be Tulane. Right. That's my point, is that Duke's not 100% guaranteed to get in if they win.
Right.
But like on Dusty and Danny this morning, they made a great point. Don't kid yourself and don't think that the Big Four, which is the SEC, Big 10, the Big 12, and the ACC, don't think that those 4 commissioners ain't going to get into a side room and go, you better not leave Duke out of this thing. Or Virginia, whoever. But I mean, let's just play the what. I mean, if Duke is the ACC champion,
7-5 Duke.
I'll ride it on a rock and throw it through the pay window that they are getting in the playoff.
I'll just say this: the ACC championship, however they determine tiebreakers and stuff over there, that is whoever made that call, like, that is wild. Like, it just blows my mind that you've got teams in that conference that are ranked higher than either of the teams that are playing in the conference championship game. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah. They're like what was that old show on Nickelodeon that you can't do that on television where they would slime people? That's what the ACC is like. Bunch of idiots. I'll agree with that. Like, Canale can die on that hill because they're idiots over there. No, I think he's been having marbles in his mouth last couple mornings about trying to defend that show.
So Randy said it's correct. It's the highest ranked conference champion. And he also said on our live stream here that I see no chance of Duke making it in if they win, that Miami has the best chance for the ACC.
Yeah, I don't think there's any
I don't disagree with Randy. Yeah. I don't disagree with him, but I will also tell you that ACC commissioner is going to start flipping some tables if their champion doesn't get into the dang dance.
Yeah.
I mean, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be must see TV for sure. Because it ain't like Virginia. It ain't like Virginia's world beaters either. I mean, they've had a good year, but
I mean,
I don't think there's a bunch of
standards.
I don't think there's a lot of people that can't wait to have a Virginia home playoff game or go to it, other than UVA fans.
Yeah.
Right. Richmond, north of Richmond.
So, what do y'all think about? And we'll talk about this real quick, Mike.
Here's one question I do have for you, JD, as the Lone Tiger.
All right.
Do you want Coach O back in the building as your D-line coach? Will it happen, or is he going to Tulane? And kind of walk me through that scenario.
Oh man.
Big wave.
Man, I'll say that I don't mind Coach O coming back. I don't know. I'll say this. If it's all going to depend on who takes the Tulane job. So, and I don't know if you know this, but Blake Baker interviewed for it, and he interviewed for Memphis. He's LSU's DC. And then you have Coach O that's supposedly pushing to try to get an interview. I don't know if he is or not. And then you also have Billy Napier, that's pushing for, and he is going to get an interview this week. So let's just say Napier.
For Tulane or who's
for
Napier
Tulane?
Interviewing both Tulane and Memphis?
Well, I know for sure Tulane. So let's just say, here's what I'm concerned about as a LSU fan. We haven't had to deal with another in-state school really in a long time. Tulane's a Jewish school. They got lots of money. they can play this NIL game with the best of them. You know, all they got to do is just kind of tap into that. You know, I've heard this, and Randy, I know you're posting this, so I'm gonna post it on here. Kyle Williams has to stay as a D line coach, and I agree with you. However, Chance can attest to this. I've heard that he's not staying, that he's ready to move back home. There's been a lot of rumblings about Coach O coming in and being the defensive line coach. But, Mike, I worry about the fact that if Tulane hires one of those three people, Blake Baker, Coach O, or Napier, one of those is going to take all those coaches that LSU and Kiffin's kind of getting rid of, maybe. Not all of them, but let's just say Coach O goes there. Let's say that the Corey Raymond decides they don't want him as DB coach, and he goes. You take Frank Wilson, that's at LSU now, that's the interim coach, that apparently Kiffin wants him in an off-the-field role. He's not happy about it, and there's a lot of talk about maybe him actually calling some of these recruits and telling them not to sign today. Now, with all that said, the reason why our two top D-line recruits didn't sign today is because they're unsure about Kyle or whoever else is going to be there at this point.
Yeah.
They don't even know if Blake Baker is going to be there. So if Tulane hires a lot of those guys that have been at LSU that recruit the state very well, it could really affect what LSU is doing. I know nobody wants to talk about it, but it is a real possibility that some of those guys could go down there, and it could really affect LSU's recruiting, especially the state of Louisiana and New Orleans. That's the only thing that I'm concerned about.
I was told today by someone close around the Tulane program that O does want the head job there. And I was like, dang. But I started thinking about it. That would be like us, you know, being in our professions and then and being successful in them like we are, and then going back and having to work no slight at anything but a hourly, like you're here at 7 o'clock to 3 o'clock. And, you know, so like O doesn't want to go back and be a D-line coach and a recruiting coordinator. He's a head guy. He's won at the top level. So I just don't see him going back to that. So I see him. And I was told today by the initials FS down there in New Orleans that at Tulane that he wants that job. So
yeah.
If
so you're saying
happens,
he's either head coach or bust. He's not doing no D-line.
That's right.
Yeah.
Coaching.
Now the you know, I think Kyle was a short-term deal anyway at LSU. I don't want to speak for him and misguide anything, but I think he was short-term all the way, no matter what. And I think they had several recruits from Ruston High. He was there to be a blockade in there or a gate to bring them in. He did that, and then this busted loose, and you know, Kiffin's going to have his own people anyway, so he's going to be back in Shudrint, ready for us to kick his teeth in playing golf. So
yeah, well, I'll say this: he has absolutely transformed the defensive line play in 1 year. He's taught those guys things and techniques, and I mean, we've had injuries. Lots of defensive tackles have been rotated in and out, and it's when they sub them in, you don't notice that they're subbing them in. And that's one thing that I wish he would stay, because just the physicality that those guys showed this year, we didn't get pushed around up front. I mean, there was a game or two here or there that people ran the ball on us, schemed us and whatnot, but it wasn't very often. And he was able to coach those guys up, and I wish he would stay. I don't know if he will. But I'm like you, Chance. I don't think Coach O is going to come back as a D-line coach at LSU. I don't think that's going to happen. So, I just, like I said,
you bring up a good point about the whole Tulane thing, and being a school that LSU really has to compete with in state. I mean that's a and if he took that, and even Bill Napier taking that with his, I mean, pipeline in Louisiana anyway, and knowing what it takes to recruit it and having the right people in place. If Kiffin doesn't put a fence around his program there with those guys, then wow, that could
Well,
be trouble.
you think about it. I mean, you take a Napier and he brings in Jabbar Jalou. He brings in Frank Wilson. You know, those guys know New Orleans. They know the state. If you take any of those guys and you bring them in that, let's not forget Tulane used to be an SEC school. I mean, that's where they started. And so I know they want to get back to that. And I'm not saying that they want to be back in the conference because I can't see them really putting the money forward to do that. But I mean, it's concerning. Just because if they got more money than any of the other in-state schools besides LSU. I mean, Louisiana Tech and UL and they can't compete with Tulane money wise. So that's the thing that concerns me. Now, can they sustain winning? I think obviously they can because look at what Fritz was able to do once he got people bought in. I mean, they beat USC in the Cotton Bowl. I mean, think about this. Tulane's about to make the playoff if they win their conference Saturday, and LSU hadn't even made it, you know, in a 12-team playoff. So, I mean, what does that say?
Yeah, and stay in that conference is what that says.
I mean, I think, and I think it was the right move for Sumrall to go to Florida. But if you're Tulane, you've got a really good opportunity here to I mean, you could make some things happen that could affect what LSU does, and I can promise you, those people at Tulane hate LSU with a passion more than Ole Miss people.
So are you guys telling me that I'm gonna have to be a Billy Napier fan again?
You might. Old Billy Ray.
We love Billy on this program. We love Bill.
I love Billy the person. I ain't too sure about I loving him as the ball coach. So
I tell you, he can recruit. He recruited very well to Florida. I will say that. So do y'all want to I'm gonna wait on Chance to get back. He probably went and made him some coffee.
I would disagree on the recruiting. I think Jaden Ball's about the only person he can maybe hang his hat on. But
yeah, Jaden Ball's a dude. I didn't realize he was only he was the first player. Is this first player since Emmitt Smith to have 1,000 yards rushing in a season, or first player?
No. Kelvin Taylor did 10 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
He was. Emmitt had the
He's the first 1,000
single game record. That's what it was. Yeah. Okay.
He's our first 1,000-yard back since 2014.
So y'all want to run through some of these games here before we get off? Talk about some of them.
I mean, the Georgia-Alabama game is going to be the marquee game. But
okay, I want to run through some of these conference championship games. So the Sun Belt.
I think the Indiana. I mean, really, the Big Ten and the SEC are the only ones that I'm going to be kind of.
No, you're gonna be watching North Texas and Tulane. Don't lie. You're gonna be watching it. You want to see what your coach is gonna do.
Look, I'm not judging my new ball coach off of one game or that, because honestly, I could give two rips if he wins that game or not, because I appreciate the fact that he wants to finish what he started, and there's some honor and in that. But I will also tell him, hey, when I start stroking them checks, I'm gonna need you to go ahead and get rid of that green wave gear, okay, my man? Sumrall is just, I love you, and rooting for you on Saturday.
Fat P has spoken.
When that check starts looking orange and blue and it says UAA on it, I'm gonna need you to get off of the green waves.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Hang on. Let me make sure that this shows up on our chat since Chance said it, and I'm gonna make sure it's there. It'll pop up on our screen there. Make it on our screen. Fat P has spoken, he said. Okay, so.
And I quote.
All right, so Georgia and Alabama, Saturday at 3:00. Alabama, or actually Georgia, is a 2.5 point favorite in Atlanta. It's in the Georgia Dome or whatever they call it now, Mercedes-Benz Stadium. The over and under is 47.5. Now, Alabama beat Georgia at Georgia, but I think Georgia's playing a lot better than they were just even a few weeks ago. And we all know that Georgia has owned Alabama in the Dome, right? In the Georgia Dome. Am I correct on that? Or is it vice versa? I can't remember.
I don't know exactly, but I think Alabama has owned Georgia, so I'm gonna stick with Bama.
Okay.
Across. I'm riding hard with that QB. I think Simpson is the best QB in the league. I love his moxie. I like their O-line. I know their tailback or their top tailback might be injured or hurt, but it seems like that big thumper they had, coming in for them. I just like Bama. I think they still know, and Georgia's not taking anything away from them. But I just feel like Bama's still got that winning element and that DNA, and I'm gonna pick Bama.
Okay. What about you, Chauncey?
I'm gonna hit the gas pedal for Bama. I think Bama's gonna make Stockton have a bad game, and I still like the players for Bama more so than I do the guys from Georgia. So
yeah,
I'm in on that.
I'm going with Georgia. We're going to be ho, 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 ho. How did Pat McAfee do it? We're going with Georgia. I am. I think Georgia covers. And I'm going to take I'm going to take the over. I think Georgia's going to score some points. DH. Yeah.
D.
Got the old guest picker today.
What are you doing? Who you got,
What's
DH?
up, big fella?
Do you like Bama or do you
Bama
like
or Georgia?
Crimson Tide all the way.
Oh, okay.
My man.
No.
Guess who's not riding shotgun? JD, get out. Dawson, get in.
Dawson's driving this rig.
Yeah.
I am not in the Accord tonight. So all right, so let's go to number 1, Ohio State, number 2, Indiana. Ohio State, both teams 12-0. OSU is a 4-point favorite. I think the game's in Indianapolis. So
it is.
It's who you got, Mike?
I'm almost with Siggs. I just like him. I like I like everything about the guy. I love his arrogance. I love the way that he just gets those guys ready. It's like he's just one of those guys who doesn't seem like anything is new to him. Like he's going to be ready for every bullet you got. He's been through every kind of meat grinder you can imagine, from the small school to the big school. And so I'm gonna ride with Siggs and the Hoosiers.
JD?
I got to oh man, this is a tough one. Man, I want Indiana to win the game so bad. I want them to, but something's telling me that I got to go with Julian Sayin and the Buckeyes. I really want to pull for the Hoosiers. I like Signetti. I just don't know if they can pull this off. It's going to be a great game. It's going to be one to watch for sure. And I'm going to take the Buckeyes.
I think the Buckeyes are going to win as well. Their defense is too good.
You're out. Get in the back. Get in the back.
I'm with you, D8. I'm with you.
Yeah.
Really good.
Hey.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hey, and guess what? We ain't stopping at Buc-ee's now either, little guy. Forget it.
No Buckies, huh?
Uh-uh.
What do you got, Chance?
Well, I want to go the Signetti route in Indiana, but I just cannot do it. I have to go with Ohio State. I think there's going to be a little bit of a roadblock there. If you go back and look at that Penn State game against Indiana and all the struggles they had, I think Ryan Day and his acumen is gonna they'll play the game a lot like that, slow Indiana down a little bit, and I think they control it and win the ball game. They know how to speed it up or slow it down, and I think it's too much for Indiana.
JD,
Yeah,
I hope both of those boys have a good Uber rating because they're out of my ride. Get them out.
Dang, you kicked him out quick, Mike.
Yeah, he turned on us
That's
quick.
right.
I'm telling you, he turned on
That's
y'all
right.
quick. All right, so we're going to go over to the Big 12. We got 11-1 BYU and 11-1 Texas Tech. Both teams are 11. Both teams are number 4 and number 11. Texas Tech is a 12.5-point favorite over BYU. Haven't they already played once this year?
They have beat them
They have.
22-9.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick BYU because I just think it's hard to beat somebody twice. Although that's going against what I just said about Bama, but there's different circumstances. I'm gonna pick BYU.
I'm thinking I'm going to go Texas Tech, but I'm going to take BYU to cover. I think, 12.5. I think they'll figure some things out. It's a conference championship game. Randy's picking Texas Tech, so I think that we're going to go wreck them Tech.
And I'm picking BYU and BYU to cover.
Oh,
Of course you are.
dadgummit.
I think BYU is going to pull out with the victory in the Big 12 championship.
Really?
Get
I'm
back
with
in the
him.
front,
I like their
kid. Come on.
mascot. I like their mascot.
Get back in the front. Come on,
He's
kid.
too awesome.
The Fighting Mormons?
Yep, I'm going BYU for all the right reasons. But hey, I want to go back to episode number 1 this year. When we were talking about previews of the season, what did I say about Texas Tech after they spent all the money? And you're like, you can't buy championships. They very well could get very close. They probably are going to buy a championship. They're that good. But I'm taking the Cougs in this one though.
Could we ask some of the viewers to explain what that word salad was just that he said? I said, you said you can't buy a championship, but they very well might, could have, maybe, and we'll see.
Yeah,
That's
just
basically
like
what you
that.
just said.
Just like
Okay,
that.
all right.
We'll ask
Yeah.
our viewers. They'll break it down for you.
So bottom line is they haven't won anything yet, correct?
They
No,
haven't, but they've done a whole lot more than you had predicted.
Okay.
They've won 11 games, which is more than any of us thought either one of our teams would win. So,
Well, I didn't predict anything other than I said you just can't buy a championship. So
I was 9-3. I was 10-2 on LSU, 9-3 on Florida. I know Mike was 9-3
I
on
was
Florida.
9-3.
And
Yeah.
I was 8-4 at best. If you go back and read,
He did say at best. He did say at best.
Listen, why are we getting off the subject of Chance saying that you can buy a championship? And all I said was that we can't. And the word salad basically ended up with, I'm not really sure what they bought yet.
Well, we'll see. Some more frack money will come in.
Yeah.
They'll frack a stack right
Yeah.
there.
That's right.
But wait,
That's right.
I did read some report that the big time donor's son is going to Oklahoma and he's fixing to take all his money and go to Oklahoma or something. Is that true?
I didn't hear that.
From Texas
No, I'm
Tech?
serious. Who's the big donor for Texas Tech?
I'm gonna have to Google this.
I thought
It's
I'd read
two
something.
brothers. It's two brothers, and they had a frack company, sold it, and they are all in on TTU. Rack 'em.
Well, look at something. There was some report where one of the huge donors, and I don't know if it was the donor, but his son, who's an offensive lineman, one of the 5-star guys, I think, who was a freshman, is leaving Texas Tech,
Mm.
and I think he's going. It might be Oklahoma. I don't know where, but essentially, like he's taking his ball and going home and taking the money with him too, or something.
Well, I was just thinking about this. Texas Tech will never win a championship until Joey McGuire changes his name to Joe McGuire. So
Yeah. Joe football.
So now there's a asterisk next
there's
to
a caveat. Yeah.
champion. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's the blue cheese crumbles on top of the word salad that we just got.
That's correct.
The croutons. All right, Mike,
Yeah.
two more games. We're going to go ahead and do these other two since we're doing it. I need you to pick. You got number 24, North Texas, coming in at 11-1, scoring about 48 points a game, versus number 20, Tulane, at 10-2. North Texas is a 2.5 point favorite. Over and under 66.5.
I'm picking my boys' team, Tulane. I'm picking Johnny S. and the boys. Look, if anything, he's going to get them fired up. He's going to be running wide open, hot. He's going to have 0 hours of sleep, and he is going to lose his mind. So I'm going to pick the Tulane Green Wave, and he just better be on campus on Sunday morning on the recruiting trail and getting things going for Gainesville Gators.
He's in the John boat. I'm taking North Texas. I think North Texas offense has been lighting it up all year. I think North Texas wins the game. I wish they were ranked higher than they were, but I'm picking North Texas to cover and win.
So
And I'm picking the under.
we've got the Mean Green and the Green Wave. I think the Green Wave is going to wash over the Mean Green and pull out with a victory.
I pull up.
DH is going with the.
I'm glad that kid's a lot smarter than his dad.
Absolutely. Never disputed that whatsoever. Green Wave, I think, will win that game, and I know we will be on the under because I feel like we're going to watch some slow motion offense from the Green Wave and keep it underneath. So I think it'll be the under and the Green Wave on top. Go, Johnny.
All right, last game, guys. You got the Sun Belt Conference Championship, number 25, James Madison, the Dukes, 11-1, playing Troy, which is 8-4, which is John Sumrall's former team.
Mm-hmm.
So Troy's 8-4, James Madison 11-1. JMU is a 23.5 point favorite over Troy.
Look, I could care less about this freaking game, so I'm gonna give me the underdog of the Troy Trojans, whoever they are, and let's just see if we can make a quick hot buck.
Yep, yeah, I'm gonna take JMU in the under.
I've got to go Troy. Go Trojans.
Yeah, you know why? Because your best friend's dad's in the Hall of Fame there. A big shout out to Eric Wickstrom. But I'm taking that belt off, and I'm fixing to whip JMU, son, fixing to ride Troy to the championship. JMU championship. Beat them with that belt, son. BTA, as the youngsters say. Belt to
Randy said he's got a question before we close out. So we're going to let Randy.
Make sure your daddy's pants don't fall off. We're a kid-friendly show around here.
We're going to let Randy ask his question before we close out. I'm waiting on him to type it up now. But anyway, it's been an interesting week, say it nonetheless. I think we've all
it's over.
Kinda, I know it, man. I'm just I'm glad that we're on to something new.
See Pat's in the background behind him. Look at him.
Waiting on you, Randy. What you got, big guy? What grade is Hutch in, is what he asked. He is the age to where if he goes to Evangel and gets held back, he'll be a heck of a football player. What grade are you in, DH? I think they froze up on us, Mike.
Yeah, that's past DH's bedtime.
Yeah, I think Randy, I think he's in the 6th grade, I think, if I'm not mistaken. 6th or 7th.
I think that's right.
I know
think it's
he's 12. I think he's 12, 11 or 12.
Yeah.
So yeah, Chance dropped off, but anyway, that's all for us for this week, episode 52. Mike Pearson, thanks for joining us, and we'll talk again next week after conference championship week. We appreciate everybody for joining and all the comments. Thank y'all, and see you next week.
Have a Merry Christmas, folks. Go Tigers.